Hello there, and welcome back to the railway.
Just thought I would show you the progress that that I've made with the bridge over the cutting. So as you just be able to see there, I don't want to remove the track setter just yet because the glue is still drying. But as you can see, I have removed the sleepers, some of the sleepers in between. And I have then pushed the sleepers so it then lines up with the beams going across that way. Which I'm much happy with how it looks this way, as it kind of gives it more of a look of then the rails are built onto the bridge rather than just, oh, we'll just lay track all and then just have ordinary track across the top. It looks a lot more realistic now. I think it does anyway. I haven't looked at any reference material, but I much prefer how it looks instead of having just ordinary track over the top. So I'll wait for this to dry and then I'll reconnect it back onto the main section of the layout and I shall show you how it looks. One thing, I used this is quite handy. If ever you're doing something, moving sleepers around and trying to get a reference, I used a bit of cardboard to put underneath the bridge beforehand, so it's then I knew where so if I just hold that there, for example, like that, it then showed me where all of the beams were going. So like, for example, I had the double beams here, but then I then used this to then put underneath the track like that to then give me an idea of which sleepers I needed, how many sleepers I needed to remove and things like that. So yeah, I shall wait for this to dry and then I'll put it in place and I shall show you how it looks. Now, one thing I thought to do while the bridge was removed from the layout is I thought I would get this section of foam glued down, so then I can start thinking about some ballast or scenery in between here. Of course, I'll still need to finish off these retaining walls on the right-hand side, which I'm in the process of doing. They are almost finished. All of them are about 50% of the way there, so it's just going to take me a bit of time getting them done. But yeah, so the next thing I want to do is glue, because this is all still, as you can see there, not glued down. So my plan is to glue this block of foam in, this whole block, it's one big block, and then glue this one down, then the bridge as well, and then try and blend it in. So this is the next bit I want to try and focus on getting done, because then once I've got these bits done and that done, I can then glue these bits of foam in, and I can then start using filler and other things like that to then fill in the gaps between the grooves or anything like that, to then try and blend it in with the ground levels. Then when I do get round to putting the ballast in, I can just go straight through along this curve here. Firstly, I removed the hillside section and I just placed it to one side. This was very easy to do as I had already used the skewers to stick all the pieces together. I then went round and hoovered roll back and up underneath where the hillside sits, so that there was no dust or any loose bits of foam anywhere that were going to get in the way of the glue. So I've tried it before, and if you try and then stick it down, if it's got dust on there, it won't stick properly and it'll stick to the dust instead of the boards underneath. So that's what I was just doing here, was just making sure there was no mess on the boards anywhere. But yeah, so yeah, after I'd hoovered it off, as you can see here, I was just brushing it off. This is just with an ordinary cloth, just making sure I get all the bits of dust and things that are around on the boards, just making sure that it is a clean, dust-free surface ready to glue on the boards. There was a little bit of glue mark here from when I put the cork down, because I had to cut some of the cork away. I put more cork down than I needed, and I gradually cut it away so it followed next to the pack. So I then just had a little bit of glue that was sticking up there that I just needed to use that chisel just to get it off the board and then hoover up any remains. Here you can see the PVA that I'm using. Very simple, really. I was originally, as you can see, I was pouring it out through the nozzle.
it became very apparent to me that this was going to take a lot longer if I did it that way. So what I did was, as you'll see in just a second, I took the cap off the glue stick and then just poured it straight from the bottle rather than trying to squeeze it, because the force I needed to try and squeeze out through that small nozzle was killing my hand. So this made it much easier than just to pour it on. I was very liberal with the amount of glue I put down, just because I wanted to make sure that it all, every area underneath the foam, that I wanted to make sure it all had enough glue. So yeah, once that was done, I replaced the lid back on the bottle of glue, and then got ready to then start spreading the glue out using a glue spreader, as you can see here, just trying to create a larger surface area as possible for the hillside to be sticking to, because the more surface area that it has to stick to, the better it will hold on to it. So yeah, that's what I'm just doing here, just spreading the glue out so it's not all in thick lines anywhere, just trying to make sure every part underneath where the hillside will go had some glue there. Because what I had done before I removed the hill was I drew a line around the edge of it, so I knew exactly where the glue needed to go to around the edge. So then I could then, when I was then spreading it like this, I then knew where the glue needed to be moved to and spread right to the edges of where the foam and the hillside would be. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to leave a like or any comments if you have any. And if you're not subscribed, please do. It's free. The button is just below the video. And if you click the bell icon on the right hand side of the subscribe button, it will then notify you whenever I upload a video, if you're interested. But yeah, so as you can see here, just making sure that all of the glue is thoroughly spread out around. And as you can see, I needed to add a little bit more in this section and just around the edge, because with spreading it out, it had gotten quite thin in some places and it had already started to dry. So I just wanted to make sure that it had a thick enough layer of glue around the whole area underneath the hillside, just so that it would ensure really that it would ensure that the hillside was stuck down firmly with an even, as even as a coating of glue as I could get, really. One quick thing I just wanted to mention as well was that by the time you're watching this video, it will be Friday. I think it'll be the 25th that this one goes out. I'm going to be on holiday for a week. The video that will come up next will still be then a week away on the next Friday, but I might not be able to respond to any comments that you leave immediately because I'm on holiday and I'm trying to have a bit of a break from everything. So the next thing that I then did with the hill, as you can see, now the glue's there, just simply place the hill in place on top of the glue. Once I had then done this, I then needed to move it around slightly on some of the edges and just make sure it was in the perfect place where it had all been measured to before. I think I had it in one place where it was still a little bit too far away from the boards on the corner. So yeah, just making sure that it was all in place. That's one of the reasons why, as you can see there, I put the bridge in, because that is one of the key markers as to where the hillside sits. And then what I did was I put a sheet of cork over the top of the foam and used some of my dad's railway books as weights to hold the hillside down while the glue was setting and drying. It's very handy having a dad with loads of railway books, and if you do have multiple things you need gluing, you're never short of any books. But yeah, so I made sure I had two different stacks. Pile in the middle and then risking either side being too high or too low. It's now the next day, and as you can see, the foam is all dried and fixed. As you can see there, not moving at all. I also didn't show it on camera, I've glued this piece in as well. So that's all done. It was quite tricky, shall we say, trying to get that one in, because these boards were slightly warped, which didn't help. So I glued it to to the baseboards first, had PVA there, then put PVA along the join here to then join it that way. And as soon as I did that, I then tried to hold it together like that. As soon as I would let go, it would lift it up off the baseboards. So I then clamped this bit of foam down. If I grab a clamp and show you which way it was clamped. So I then had one clamp. Sorry for the camera movements there. I had one clamp going that way. I then had another clamp. If I just give me a second. I then had another clamp then going that way, trying to hold this to the grey board. And I then had another one, again, going across here. But then the bottom here started to flare out that way. So I then had another clamp going that way, just to hold it all in. It is now all glued in and it's perfectly straight and smooth and everything, so I'm very happy with it. As I said, the only bit that I didn't glue in was the bridge. That is still removable because I am now going to start painting the frogs on every single point on the layout. Because as you have seen from episode 20, it did make a huge difference. I have done some tests with it as well, and it is perfectly fine with it. There's no electrical connectivity in any of the paint. So yeah, so the next section of the video will be me painting all of these. First of all, they'll be painted with a silver chrome kind of colour, and then I'll put then a thinner layer of brown paint over the top, which gives me then a nice very similar coloured effect to the rails that are already there. So I'll just start getting that done and I shall update you as it goes. One thing I just forgot to say as well, I didn't get a chance to show you the bridge. The bridge itself isn't actually fixed in, but it is now. The bridge is now glued to the track, which is very nice. And I really like the way it looks now, because as you can see, if I just zoom you in, the sleepers are almost non-existent. The way it blends it in a lot more. So I think it looks a lot more realistic, especially when you look at it at that angle. So you've got ordinary tracks there, and then it goes like that. So I'm really happy with how this looks and how it's gone. So at some point, when I get round to painting the bridge, I will then paint the sleepers to match the colour of the bridge, so it's then all the same metal effect that it looks. As you'll see here, I've made some more of the retaining walls. So as you know from the last section of the video, I'd already made these and they were already glued onto the hill when I placed it in. But I just needed to make all the ones on this side. Now all of the tall ones, excuse me, they had all mostly been made already. All that needs to be done with them was just assemble them. So for example, I had like the top section was done. Most of the bottom section was done, and the back of it was done, so it was just like three big pieces we needed gluing together. But that was then what I did with all of those ones. So I needed to do those first because they were taking up space in my building area just behind me. And then after I'd done those, I then have started on the sloped retaining walls. So as you can see, there's a slope on this side, and there'll be a slope on this side over here. But yeah, I'm very happy with how it looks, especially when you're looking at it from this perspective as well, as it's closing in. There we go, that's the angle I'm looking at. Then you can see as the trench, as I like to call it, closes in and funnels down to 2 tracks as it goes. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. I just had to make a slight adjustment to one of these pillars because I had slightly mismeasured. As you can see here with the line of, this is where the track I used to have, where the track was going to cross over. This changed several months ago because of the bridge that I ordered was slightly shorter than what would have gone there. And to be honest, I prefer the angle that it's at now.
So all that means is that you can see there that this side, the bridge is centred between the two pillars, whereas on this side it won't be. Because if I wanted to try and centre it and pull it further this way, the angle of this track as it would then go into the station would be an awkward angle trying to then fix it. So all I need to do now, as you can see, that's where the pillar would go, is in there. All I need to do is just trim the top of it off, just so it's flush with the rest of the retaining wall, and then that should be that area done. So once all of those retaining walls are done and complete, I can then glue them in place. So these ones here, as you can see, they're not glued in place yet, but now that this bit of foam is glued, that'll be my next job, is to start gluing all of these retaining walls in and then filling in all the gaps ready for some more of the scenery. And then I still need to do some shaping on this side of the embankment and the hill. But yeah, that will come in not the next video, but probably the one after. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next video in a week's time. And then after that, I shall be back from my holiday and shall be back to hopefully responding to the comments as soon as they appear. But yeah, so this video and the next video have both been pre-recorded by the time you watch them, so that they are uploaded while I'm on holiday. But anyway, thank you for watching. You're now going to go into a quick running session with my Sonic Models Large Prairie, that's what it is, and the Graham Farish Castle. So, hope you enjoy.